As Director of the Getty Museum, I want to extend a very warm welcome to all of you here for this conference, particularly those who are coming to the Getty for the very first time. Just a word of, if you like, of history, which I think is, though, quite relevant to your deliberations here in this city. As you know, 20 years ago, the Getty Center was opened, and at the time there was some criticism about it being rather elusive, high up on this hill, this grand building, removing itself from the everyday life of the city. And that was only made worse, as it were, by the fact that you had to make a reservation to attend the museum. And many argued and thought at the time that perhaps we should have been located in downtown, where there was plenty of street life and more everyday activity. And from a standpoint of communications, which you're here to think about, the perception of a remote Getty, out of touch with the city of Los Angeles, has been one of our biggest, I'd say has been the biggest perception challenge in our short life of this 20 years. And I say that in spite of the fact that from the very beginning, it was entirely free. Apart from the car parking, all of the exhibitions, the programs, the exhibits, and so on at the Getty, as they still are today, are free. So the theme of your conference here for these days is Museum Beyond Walls. And today, more than ever, cultural organizations that you represent, whether they are wherever they are in the world and whatever region of your cities and regions, need to look outside their walls to ask themselves some basic questions. How are they engaging with their communities? How are they welcoming new audiences? And how are they being responsible and active contributors to their communities? Over the years here at the Getty, I think we've done many of the traditional things that museums do to engage their audiences and to work outside their walls, and I think we've done them fairly successfully. And I'm thinking of such things as programming events and displays outside the museum, in other institutions, in classroom sessions for educational purposes in schools, partnering with other organizations in town to co-present special off-the-hill programs, and perhaps most notably of all, our very ambitious and extensive bus funding program that brings more than 100,000 school children per year to the Getty Museum, many for their first ever visit to a museum. Increasingly, however, the Getty has come to define its role also as an enabler, using the substantial resources we have to facilitate programs that other institutions would not be able to realize by themselves. And that involves us being a thought leader, a convener, and sometimes also a partner and funder. Which brings me to Pacific Standard Time. You are here in Los Angeles at a very special time for us at the Getty and for this city. About 7 weeks ago, we launched Pacific Standard Time LALA, a major regional initiative involving more than 70 institutions exploring the dialogue between Los Angeles and Latin American and Latino art. This was the second such initiative. In the first one in 2011, Pacific Standard Time, the first, as we call it, focused on the art of California after the Second World War from 1945 to 1980. And one of the greatest contributions that these initiatives made, that's both the one on Californian art and this one on Latin American and Latino art, one of the great contributions they made is in advancing the art history of their subjects, exploring themes and topics that had not previously been properly researched or published. And I think this contribution to the corpus of art literature cannot be overestimated. To this end, for PSTLALA, the Getty Foundation has provided some $16 million in grants to assist over 60 cultural institutions in Southern California to research and present exhibitions and programs over the course of the next several months. And in the days ahead, you'll see the first fruits of this investment, including 3 of the 4 exhibitions that are on view here at the Getty Center. If anything should lay to rest the idea that the Getty is a white castle on the hill and make clear that we are, on the contrary, a very significant player within our community, I think this is it. And indeed, just 2 weeks ago, the Los Angeles Times, in a review written by Christopher Hawthorne, who many of you will know, proclaimed, With Pacific Standard Time, Getty finally climbs down from Hilltop Oasis to build 20 years ago. Sorry, from the Hilltop Oasis it built 20 years ago. I would say that this, in fact, had been true for many years, but as we all know, the perception often trails behind and sometimes far behind the reality, but better late than never. So the Getty's very pleased, coming back to your conference, we are pleased to play host to Communicating the Museum, to engage with you, the international museum community, and to help facilitate a dialogue on issues that are important to all of us. I want to take a moment to offer my congratulations to all those who worked so hard over the past year to organize this conference. The schedule, as I've seen, is robust and the discussion topics look varied and certainly thought-provoking. I hope you enjoy your time here today at the Getty and hope this will not be your last visit. I wish you a stimulating conference and hope it inspires new thinking and new ideas that you'll bring back to your institutions as you return to those that you've come from. So welcome again and thank you very much for being here.